Alright, so about a year ago I made a Loughborough Q&A video in which I brought up many questions that I've been asked personally through comments, through Instagram, through people coming up to me in real life. And I answered them for you, and it's one of the more popular videos on the channel, but I'm going into final year next year. I'm a more experienced Loughborough student as a result. I'm old. So if you're joining Loughborough this year, or if you just want more information around the uni, hopefully these questions help you out. Alright, are societies worth it, and how much commitment do they take? Short answer is yes, 100% they are worth it. Every university has loads of societies, but Loughborough in particular has a lot. And it's a huge spectrum because of the facilities around Loughborough, because of different interests people at Loughborough have. You're talking cultures, you're talking hobbies, you're talking skills. You can meet so many people, you can unlock abilities you never had, and you've never got a better time to do it. If I could say something to myself in first year and even second year, even though I think it's a bit better in second year, I'd say just go and throw yourself out there at societies, because you're going to meet people, and the worst comes to worst, you don't enjoy it, you just don't do it again. It's that easy. Every single society has trial lessons, every single society is well priced. Let's say you've never danced before, but you've never really been inclined to dance. You know what, just give it a go, mate. Just give it a go, because you've got nothing to lose. It could be something that's within your interest, it could be something you've never tried before, it could be something that a couple of your mates are trying, you've never even thought of it, and they're saying, come along with us, and you just go, yes. You know, it's a time to try and say yes to as many opportunities as possible, so get yourself stuck in societies. It's never a waste of time. What does a typical day at Loughborough University look like? Well, first of all, I've made a video called Day in the Life of a Loughborough University Student. That's when I was a fresher, maybe slightly more disciplined, maybe not the exact way you want to attack being a fresher. For me, it's worked. I've got great experiences from it. I believe that was a big part of why I was able to go to Australia in my year abroad. But at the same time, there are regrets of having my first year and things I would change. But that video does give you a good idea of what a day in the life is like when you're talking schedule and lectures and the gym, and it gives you an idea of the campus. But what a typical day looks like depends on you, really. Of course, you're going to have the lectures, you're going to have that schedule, and the schedule depends on you. That's a big difference to school. You'll learn quickly that school is very much holding your hand. You know, you do this, and if you don't do it, you're probably going to get told to do it. Whereas at Loughborough, at any university, you don't do your study, you don't do your coursework, you don't turn up to the lecture, so no one's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, mate, you should really be doing this. It's down to you. That's the difference. And then outside of that, depends on the hobbies, who you meet, what you want to do. Obviously, you'll have a schedule around which societies you join, which sports you decide to play, gym membership. But Loughborough, especially for people who are very active, very into their sports, is a great place. Everybody knows that. The facilities are second to none. And at the end of the day, that's what's brilliant about it, and that's what makes a day in Loughborough so good. How much is the workload at Loughborough University compared to A-levels? Well, I hinted at this before, but it's simply no more hand-holding. It might suit some of you, it might not. Let's say it's your first coursework and it's due in late November. You need to get it done. You can get it done early, you can get it done the night before, but you need to get it done. Of course, you're going into a more specialised subject. I did Spanish history and economics at A-level. I went into PPE at Loughborough and I specialised in economics over time. You become more educated and specialised in a certain area. So of course, it's more difficult as you specialise into that area, but you haven't got any other distractions. Like, I'm not studying economics and thinking about my Spanish homework. I'm studying economics and that's my focus. So at the end of the day, yeah, it can be an increased workload, but if you keep yourself to a good schedule, you'll probably fly through the first year pretty easy. What is the best accommodation? Well, I've made a Loughborough accommodation halls ranking, and there have been a few more of these made by people connected to Loughborough University. And if you haven't seen my most recent video, give it a watch after this one, but I'm going to slightly spoil it now. I spent my first 2 years at Loughborough University in Royce. In my final year, I'm going to be moving to Towers. And if you've watched my Loughborough University halls ranking video, you wouldn't expect me to be moving to Towers because I put it in the lowest bracket. But funnily enough, that tees up the answer to this question pretty perfectly. It depends on you. For me, why am I moving to Towers? Right. For me, I like food and I don't mind catered. I'm not too fussy about food. I can get along with the catered food. I did for 2 years in Royce. And Towers is catered 7 days a week. I know I've got a lot of stuff going on in my final year: YouTube, dissertation, academics, sport, and other big ideas I have for the channel. I want to save as much time for myself as possible by not going shopping for food, by not preparing for food, by not cooking the food. I can just rock up to the catered hall, eat my food, and get on with my day. That's pretty easy to me. Other reasons include that it's going to be close to where I'm going to be having my lectures, it's close to the power-based gym, which is the main gym that I use. So over time, you find an idea of what's best for you. Now, my Loughborough Halls ranking video is very light-hearted in the sense that you've got S tier and you've got F tier, and they're ranked, and you kind of can take the mick out of other halls. But at the end of the day, I provide essential information. I provide location, I provide cost, I provide the basics. Are they catered? What sort of bed do you get? Do you get a sink? Things like this. Whether you're an engineering student, whether you're a sports science student, you can get an idea of what's going to suit you best. So I suggest that after this video, you go and watch that one and you can get an idea of what the best accommodation is for you, because at the end of the day, there is no best accommodation. It's the best accommodation for you. And linking on from this, is it better to live on or off campus in the second and third year? Once again, it depends on you. You might get that opportunity to do that, and a lot of people do that in their second and third year. I didn't. I find it time effective that I haven't. Once again, I'm catered and I'm on campus. I like that. But if you do get the opportunity and you're in a fantastic friend group that you know you're going to get along with, why the hell not? You get the essential life experience of what it is like to live in a household with those sort of responsibilities, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. That's something I've missed out on. That's something I understand I've missed out on. And that's the trade-off you take. The simple answer to this one is, if the opportunity does come up for you, I'll weigh up the pros and cons and see if it's best for you. What's the difference between AU and IMS sport? Well, AU means athletic union, which means you're representing the university in your sport. Now, when it comes to the elite sports, this is very difficult to get into. So we're talking football, cricket, and other things. I've been to Loughborough University football trials, only usually about 25 spots for 800 plus students or trialists, which means there's often a leak down into the IMS system. And IMS is intramural sport, which is halls against halls. So your Towers against your Faraday, your Royce against your Cayley. It's great because it's still competitive, it's still a decent level. I've played football at that level and cricket as well. And it's decent, it's competitive, you're in a league, you're representing your halls, people get behind you, people rock up, especially if you get to finals, you usually get a couple hundred people watching. But at the end of the day, the difference is coaching. IMS is more based on volunteers. But if you do get into AU, you're really looking at developing as a player. You're getting the best coaching, you're using the best facilities, and it's more focused on improving and developing the ability and your mind in this sport throughout your time at Loughborough. So that is simply the difference. IMS is a step down from AU. Doesn't mean IMS is a bad level. A lot of people were represented at IMS. I even know good footballers who didn't even make it into IMS football trials. That is one problem you could say with Loughborough, in the sense that it is so good at sport that even if you are a good sportsman, you're not guaranteed to play competitive sport. But in most cases, if you don't make it into AU, you'll probably make it into IMS. Is Loughborough University worth it for careers outside of sport? So we're talking engineering, business, management, whatever you want to say. Yes, it really is. I mean, for academics related to sport, Loughborough is definitely the best in Europe, if not possibly the world. But also if you look at the statistics around STEM and business and economics, it's up there as well. It really is. As I said, I study PPE. I know loads of people who study engineering at Loughborough because it's really high ranked in these areas, especially if you're going for engineering or business and economics. As I said, it's certainly a university to look at and not overlook just because it's associated with sport. It is not only sport. But if you're like someone like me who wants to specialise in economics, or it doesn't have to be economics, it could be engineering, but you play a sport alongside, and Loughborough might just be the perfect mix for your university life. Is there a lot to do on campus at the university? Well, yeah. If I haven't hinted at it already, facilities are incredible. Loughborough's a strange place. Usually you have a city and the university within the city, whereas Loughborough is obviously within a town of Loughborough, but the campus is almost like its own town next to the traditional town of Loughborough. And what I mean by that, on campus, there's not many universities that have their own two gyms, co-ops, hairdressers. The student union is filled with restaurants and cafes, and it's really a town in itself. You don't have that city feel, but on campus, especially as I said, if you're an active person, you're not going to run out of things to do. You've got the gym, you can meet up with your mates to play any sort of sport, and there's so many events around, so many sports around, so many societies around. You're probably not going to run out of things to do, especially with your university academic life alongside it. Now, if you do want kind of a slightly more busy area, Nottingham and Leicester are pretty close, you know, not far on the train at all. If you want to go for a day out there or a night out there, it's pretty easy too. So when you're looking at campus and beyond, there's quite a lot of things to do. Is it better to do a placement or year abroad in your third year? Well, you're talking to someone who's done both. I've done a 6+6, which means I did half the year studying abroad and the other year a placement. Now, if you've watched my video of me talking about my experience in Australia, then you will know that I was meant to do a placement in Australia. Didn't quite work because of visa problems, part-time. Now I'm just doing some part-time work here, which is going to be sufficient. Once again, it's pros and cons, and you don't need to decide until your second year, but I'd advise you to start thinking about it in your first year because you can kind of tee yourself up for what you want to do. Uni abroad is great. I personally had an incredible time in Australia, and if you haven't watched that video I was talking about, I suggest you also watch it after this one. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I had an incredible friend group. I was able to play cricket out there, which was a dream come true, and that only scratches the surface of the experience I had out there. I was able to go to other countries like New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia. It was incredible. At the same time, if I'd done a placement, a full year in industry, would I have maybe better exit opportunities when I leave Loughborough? Would I have better employability? Potentially. Potentially. It's hard to say, and that's where you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. For me, in this moment, experience came over it just. But it did take quite a long time of me thinking about it. I did actually do a vlog at the time I was processing what I was going to do, which you can also add on this list of videos to watch if you're new to the channel. And I know I keep saying it depends, but it does depend. It depends on how clear you are on what you want to do after university. How adventurous are you? Do you want to go and see the world? Because you've got to remember, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I spent 7 months abroad and I was only really able to do that because of Loughborough, because of the opportunity I've been given with the study exchange in Australia. It made it so much easier to get a visa. It made it so much easier. But if you can start thinking about it in your first year, start making decisions, maybe speaking to people, because there are people to speak to around this. Then I make use of your free time in the first year to make that decision. Then you can go into the second year with a clean mindset of exactly what you're going to do. What is the alternative to nights out at Loughborough University? Well, there's lots of alternatives. As I've said already, societies. I don't know, book club or debating or a cultural society on a Friday night, which is your alternative. And these societies do get-togethers in their own time anyway. Of course, there is that culture around Loughborough University. There's that culture around every university. It's people in their late teens, early 20s, and they've got the world at their feet. And you've got to remember how many people there are around the university. There's going to be people with similar mindsets to you. Some of you might want to go out every night. Some of you might want to make it 50-50. Some of you might not be interested at all. You're going to meet people with similar interests. It's pretty impossible not to meet people around uni. And with these Loughborough University videos I make on this channel, I like people to comment below if they're coming to Loughborough University, what they're looking to do, and you can maybe make a few connections before you come here. Is Freshers Week worth it? Yeah, it actually is, and you might find that a bit of a surprise coming from me. Whether you get involved with the nights out or little events go on, I'd suggest you will. It's a good way to meet people. You need to make those connections early on because you don't know what they're going to lead to, and in most cases they're going to lead to opportunities. Good, bad opportunities, but opportunities nonetheless. But if you open those doors for yourself early on, get involved with Freshers Week, because there's nothing else like it. There is nothing else like it. They try to replicate it. They do a reshoot for Freshers Week. Nothing else is like Freshers Week. Everyone's going in there with the same sort of nervous mindset. They don't know what's going to happen for the year ahead. Most people are leaving their family home for the first time ever. When I've looked back on it, it's quite a mental scenario. You're all thrown into this room. You're all new to the halls or wherever you're staying. And I'd make the most of it because you're never going to be able to replicate that again in your life. Now, I'm not saying get smashed or do anything stupid, but what I'm saying from a social perspective, makes the most of it. Meet as many people as you can. Make really good friends that you're going to have for life at the uni. A lot of the best connections I've made at Loughborough are through Freshers Week, and it's easy as that. What are students at Loughborough University like? I have actually had this question a few times, and I always find it a bit of an awkward one because it's like people in real life. Everybody comes from different walks, everybody comes from different cultures, everybody comes from different countries. The difference is everybody's just within a similar age you, kind of in a similar scenario. Everybody's a student. If you were to maybe give a stereotype to Loughborough University specifically compared to other universities, people might say that we're quite focused, I guess, quite driven. When I've had family at Loughborough University, they kind of say that everybody's kind of walking with pace and determination and focus, which I suppose comes from a sporting mindset. And yeah, there is that sporty stereotype. Not everybody fits it, but it's something that certainly suits Loughborough. In most cases, if you are coming to Loughborough, you're probably sporty yourself. Penultimate question, what would I tell a student joining Loughborough in September? It's kind of a summary of all the answers I've given so far. First of all, you need to kind of understand how rare of an opportunity you're walking into as a fresher at Loughborough. As I said, it's not something you can quite replicate, and you probably wouldn't understand that in the moment. With my regret in the first and even my second year, get involved socially. Just get involved socially. Sports, societies, everything I've mentioned already. That is going to open more doors, more opportunities, more experiences for you, rather than just like getting your head down and having tunnel vision from the offset. There's times for that, 100% there's times for that. Exam season, coursework soon, get your head down. But aside from that, and this is what I'd probably tell myself before going to Loughborough, realise all the people you can meet, realise all the skills you can develop that aren't even linked to academics. The whole point of this at the end of the day is academics. You're here to get a degree. But there's a point to university as well that isn't advertised necessarily. It's all the life skills, the social skills, the little skills you can develop, the things you can learn about life rather than books. And that's what I remind myself, and I think that's the mindset I took rather extremely into Australia, and finally I can go into my final year with a balance of both worlds and hopefully make it the best year of the lot. And that links onto the final question, which is something people often ask me: what are my plans for the final year? I'm really looking forward to this final year from many different perspectives. First of all, from an academic perspective, I've been studying PPE, but this year I finally get to focus solely on economics. I am doing one politics module, but aside from that, my other 4 are all on economics, which includes my dissertation work, which I'm also looking forward to. But I don't want to talk about academics too much. From a sporting point of view, I've just had a fantastic time out in Australia, and we've just started the cricket season here. I'd love to make it into AU cricket. I'd love to put that AU kit on for a good sport. Whether that's going to be a possibility or not, as I've said, Loughborough University trials are difficult, but I'd love to make it a reality. If it doesn't come off, I'll play IMS football, I'll play IMS cricket, and I'll try new sports and try new societies whilst I have the opportunity to. Probably the most exciting, especially for you guys, is the YouTube. I have huge plans for YouTube going into the final year. I didn't make any YouTube videos when I was out in Australia, and I'm glad I didn't, because it gave me a little reset. Now, out in Australia, I love the pub quiz. I really did love a pub quiz, and it led to me making some quizzes for my friends, which I've actually brought to the YouTube channel now. Also recently been making a lot of quiz shorts, which have been doing really well and having the best success on the channel I've ever seen. And I'm really looking forward to in my final year putting lots of these ideas together. I've got some really big ideas that are going to include Loughborough students. But so if you're on this channel, I say you stick around. Go and watch my other videos, but also stick around, because there's going to be opportunities on this channel for Loughborough students just like you. And I really do think it's going to be a great year ahead. So that finishes the Q&A. If you do have any more questions, there are usually questions linked to questions that are more specified. And so if you do have any more questions, more scenarios you want to put in the comments below, so if you do have any more questions or scenarios to put in the comments below, put them down there. I will definitely try and respond as many as I can. And if you are coming to Loughborough this year, I'll probably see you around. Feel free to come up, say hello. I love meeting the viewers and the people that make this channel. All in all, I really hope you enjoy your time in Loughborough. I'm really looking forward to this final year. See you around. Bye-bye.